Hi everyone, it's me. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Alanna and I'm a Canadian, but I have been living here in the UK for the last 7 years, and I decided that I want to get laser eye surgery here in England. I actually already did, and I don't need these anymore. It's a miracle. I can see. I can literally see. If you're interested in getting this procedure done, I have literally all my details. I'm gonna tell you literally everything, and I hope it helps with your decision. If you have absolutely no interest in this procedure, cool, hi, welcome to this video. I'm gonna give you all the hot gossip. There's chapters, so you can jump around if you wish. I have so much to share with you guys, so without further ado, let's go. And I'll be honest, like in the viewfinder, I don't even recognize myself because I haven't seen myself without glasses in 6 or 7 years. Because if I didn't have my glasses on, I couldn't see. So I couldn't even see myself in the mirror. So it is weird. I've had some people comment and reach out to me saying, oh, you look weird. It's going to take a long time to get used to. Me too, buddy. Me too. All right, I've got my coffee. I've got my notes. Where to begin? I guess me. So my stats, if you will. Now, both my parents had LASIK, which is a type of laser eye surgery back in Ontario, Canada. This has got to be about 15 years ago. So the concept to me was not that foreign. I've been wearing full-time glasses lately. These have been my glasses for about 6 years. And without my glasses, I was pretty much blind. I didn't do anything without them other than shower and sleep. Without them, I couldn't even see like the viewfinder on this camera. I wouldn't be able to see my laptop. It would just be pointless. And that is a big reason why I decided to do this. Was maybe if you can see normally, you won't understand, but there's a real sense of vulnerability when I'd put my glasses down to do something and then I couldn't find my glasses and I couldn't see my glasses. It's just like a really kind of frightening, maybe is a bit too much, but it's just not a nice feeling. And my prescription was around -3 point something-ish. Both eyes were a little bit different, but I was kind of in the -3 range. Is surgery cost effective compared to glasses? No. Absolutely not. I would not look at laser eye surgery as a cost-saving initiative. It is far cheaper to just wear glasses. Is it permanent? No, it is not. Your eyes are living tissue and they will change. When my mom had hers done about 15 years ago, for 15 years, only until recently, she's had to start looking at getting reading glasses because your eyes do degrade. My eyes are not like bionic now. Do you know what I mean? Like they're not like, they're still my eyes. If I could get close to 15 years without glasses, that'd be pretty cool. I'm kind of hoping for a little bit longer, but we'll see. Okay, so first step on this whole process is a initial consultation. Now, for my first one, I went to Optical Express. It is a huge chain. They have clinics all over the UK. And it was a good experience. It was a free appointment. I went to the clinic in Gravesend, which is quite a recent build, like a new facility. It was nice. Everyone there was very nice. There is a lot of sitting around in between testing. I was there for about 3 hours. So I would sit in the waiting room and then I was called to do some tests. Then I had to sit in the waiting room while they analyzed those tests. Then I had to redo one of the tests. So I had to wait for the nurse to be available, do the test, then wait again for it to be my test to be looked at. So there is a lot of sitting around. I was there for about 3 hours, but I wasn't like actively doing stuff for that entire time. They do use dilating drops near the end of my appointment, which sting, which is annoying. They do not numb your eyes. So they just pop those dilating drops in. It does sting. What can you do? Now, at that point, I was approved for LASIK. So Optical Express, I'm not a professional. This is just the things that people have told me. They tell me they do 2 different types of LASIK, the cheap version and the better version, which kind of grosses me out. Like LASIK is LASIK, but they kind of tell you like the cheaper version is not as good. So I don't know who's picking that. It's the same surgery. but the amount of detail they give the laser is less. So it's like not as good. I don't really know. It's just kind of, it's a little bit sketchy. Now, right after my dilating drops, so you can't see very well once you have those drops, I was approved for LASIK. They immediately sent me to one of the like manager coordinator people, and she wanted 500 pounds to basically book my surgery slot. But I felt really gross because it's quite pressured, which I kind of expected. It's a free appointment. They want to make their sale, but I literally couldn't see very well. And they're like trying to get me to book my surgery. And I was just kind of like, I did ask who would my surgeon be. I wanted to know their name. I wanted to know their stats. The woman told me that you wouldn't know who your surgeon was until you actually booked it. From my understanding, they don't necessarily have like surgeons who just work at that clinic. They have people that will come in. So maybe so-and-so does surgery on Wednesdays, and then the next week, this guy is gonna do Thursday, Friday. And it's kind of like, it's just whoever you get. I finally said I'm not in the right mindset to choose or to make a decision right now. I want to go home and think about it. So went home. They called me every day for a few days until I told them to stop, because really I wanted a second opinion. And it is something that I would recommend. Get a second opinion before you do this. Overall, Optical Express was fine. I didn't really have anything to compare it to, so I didn't really know what it could be like. Could it be worse? Could it be better? Whatever. So I booked my first consultation with London Vision Clinic. Now this appointment was 500 pounds compared to free at Optical Express. And I really struggled with booking this, but I needed a second opinion. So here we are. I will say that if you are found ineligible for laser eye surgery, they refund that 500 back. If you pay it, you have your consultation with them and you don't want to go with them, they refund half. If you are approved and you go through the surgery with them, that 500 is put towards your treatment costs. So sure, I'm fine with it. You're also given a patient care coordinator. So I had a girl specifically that I would contact who knew me, who knew, like, had all my details. So I had that person at the clinic that I could call whenever I needed to. Like Optical Express, this appointment was around 3 hours. More testing happened here. Everybody was really nice. It's a beautiful clinic on Harley Street in London. Feels very posh. Felt very posh. I felt a little out of place, but everybody was really nice. They do dilate your eyes like the previous testing, but they numb your eyes before they do it, which I thought was a nice little touch. I will also say I really liked the optometrist at London Vision Clinic because he actually sat through and verbally told me all of the risks. At Optical Express, they basically gave me a big pamphlet that I had to read through, and it had all the risks and the percentages and stuff. But this guy actually verbally told me, he's like, hey, there's a 1% chance of this happening. There's a 0.5% chance of this happening. There's an 8% chance of this. Like, he was very, very upfront because there are risks, right? Now, I was approved for their 2 types of surgery. So at London Vision, they do a LASIK, just a LASIK, not a cheaper one or a better one. They provide LASIK. That's the one where they do the flap in your eye. But I was also approved for SMILE, which is not offered at a lot of clinics. It's a newer version of laser eye surgery, and that is with a keyhole incision rather than a flap. So I was able to ask loads of questions. To be honest, I felt a lot better at this appointment. I just felt better. So they sent me home because they were not going to try and book anything at that point. They said, go home, think about it. And my patient care coordinator was gonna call me in about 2 days. Now let's talk about costs. Ooh, my least favorite. Optical Express quoted me £4,700 for their nicer LASIK. Their costs will change depending on your prescription. It's not a set cost. So they do show something on their website. They show a figure. That's starting from. It does depend on your prescription. London Vision Clinic quoted me £5,500. The $500 I had already paid for the appointment. That would be the cost for LASIK or Smile. It is a set fee. It does not change based on your prescription. It does not change based on LASIK versus Smile. $5,500. Now your experience is going to be different. Probably should have said that earlier if you do this. For me, it kind of felt like a no-brainer. I liked London Vision Clinic. I was happy to pay the extra money. I felt like I was getting a service that reflected that cost. Does that make sense? Now, the next step was to book my surgery consultation. Now, I'm not totally certain that Optical Express has this appointment. I kind of got the feeling that you literally just showed up for the surgery. But with London Vision Clinic, you meet with your surgeon at least about a week before surgery, do the final testing. You can ask all the questions you want. You can speak to the surgeon directly. And they give you about a week cooling off period, so you can change your mind if you want to before your surgery. Now for me, I live in Kent. I'm very grateful that I can get into London pretty easy, but door to door, it was about 2 hours. And it's expensive to take the train into London. So I asked my care coordinator, I was like, hey, can I do the surgeon consultation and my surgery, and then ultimately a post-op, 1 day post-op appointment? Can I do those all back to back? Because ideally, I would like to come into London, stay at a hotel, just get this all done with, and then go back home to Kent. So she said that was fine. I did have to sign an extra waiver, basically waiving the 1 week cooling off period. It's not medically necessary. It's really just to give you a cooling off time to change your mind. At this point, I'm not going to change my mind. We're doing it. So I booked a hotel. I think it's the Bladford. What a great name. Or Blandford, something like that. It was about a 10-minute walk from the clinic. Highly recommend if you are going to do this scenario. So booked the hotel. Went into London for my surgery consultation. Hey guys, so we are here at the hotel now. Updates. Got into London just fine. Got to the clinic just fine. I had my surgery consultation, or my surgeon consultation, who was absolutely lovely. Glenn seems very nice. So he redid my vision test, better or worse, just to double check everything, and then talked about the different procedures that technically I am eligible for. We decided on a Smile, so I'm getting my Smile surgery tomorrow. Overall, it was very simple. He seems very nice, really trying to put me at ease because I am a little bit clammy and a little bit nervous. The appointment was about 45 minutes long, and it was mainly just speaking with a surgeon. We did a couple of testing just to check everything was okay, but it was really talking to the surgeon and also talking about deciding between LASIK or Smile. Now, my very sort of dumbed down explanation between the two and how it was kind of explained to me is Smile and LASIK and Smile. Neither of them are going to necessarily get me a better result. They are both laser eye surgery setups, procedures. LASIK has a flap. So the flap can be traumatized if you have a really active job or you do sports that are really active. The flap can be moved. It's a gross word to think about, your flap moving. But with LASIK, you have really good vision almost immediately. It's really, really fast. Flap can be traumatized. Higher risk of dry eyes. Basically, anytime you do anything to your eyeball, you're gonna get dry eye. It's just how bad. Now, Smile is a keyhole incision, so you do not have a flap. Your flap doesn't exist, so it can't be traumatized. Your vision is not good right away, and it does take longer to heal, but I don't know if the right word is the likelihood or the severity of dry eyes is less. But in my mind, I thought, you know what? I'm not in a rush if it's going to take a little bit longer to heal, but I will likely have less dry eyes. Let's do Smile. I also was able to ask a couple of questions. So my surgery was booked the next day, first thing in the morning. So I asked, Can I have caffeine? Can I have my morning coffee? My surgeon said, absolutely. There's nothing you could eat or drink that would impact the surgery. They ideally don't want you to drink any alcohol, mainly because it's quite drying and I think it makes your eyes more irritated and more dry. But coffee, fine. I also asked, could I walk back to my hotel from the clinic after surgery? It was only going to be 10 minutes, and he said no. They really wanted us to get a cab or to be driven by a friend or family or somebody to the hotel so I could get into the hotel room, like lay in bed as quickly as possible and keep my eyes closed. Because really the first sort of 3-4 hours after surgery is the most important, and they really just want you to have your eyes closed, hanging out. So no, I couldn't walk. And that brings us to the day of the surgery. Hey guys, so it is day of surgery. I slept really weird, which is expected. I am ready to go. We're about to leave in like 5 minutes. We're gonna walk over to the clinic, and they say I'll be there for about 2 hours, but the actual surgery, like in the surgery room, is only about 15 minutes. I have already sweat through one of my shirts. I think I might vomit. I'm excited. And I'm ready to go. I keep telling myself, like, younger people have this done. I can do it. Old people have this done. I can do it. People have been doing this for many, many years. I can do it. But I might throw up first. Anyway, it's time to go. It's really hard to describe how truly nervous I was. I did try to have some breakfast. They recommend you eat something because you will take some tablets as part of the surgery. I tried to sort of choke down some breakfast and my morning coffee, and it was really tough. Now, something that really freaked me out was I wanted to know exactly what happened as part of the surgery. So I'm gonna tell you that right now. So my partner and I walk over to the clinic, 10-minute walk. We check in at reception. We sit down. Immediately, a nurse takes me aside to a private room. So verbally, she told me all of the instructions, but she also gave me a print off with everything included because I was so nervous. A lot of what she was saying was going in one ear and out the other. I was terrified. I'm gonna say that. I was terrified. So in my booklet, it has everything that I will need to know or reference. I even got my surgeon's mobile number in case of an emergency outside of clinic hours, which made me feel just like a little bit more reassured. So we sit down in this private room. She gives me this. So this little toiletry bag had everything that I was gonna need. So the first week, there's a real regimen on eye drops. We'll come back to that in a second. So they give me all of the eye drops that I'll need. They also gave me 2 sleeping tablets in case I wanted to use them. They gave me emergency drops in case I got something in my eye. They gave me emergency sort of anti-inflammatory painkiller kind of stuff, just in case I needed it. They also gave me these horrible, horrible sleeping goggles, which we will get back to. They gave me tissues. They gave me a little timer, because there's a real time element to the drops. Yeah, it just gave me literally everything that I would need. And then while we were in this private room, she also gave me some tablets to take, paracetamol, anti-inflammatory. I'm not even really sure what they were. She explained them all to me and I'm just like, and I'm just like actively sweating. Okay, sure, I'll take whatever you want. They also gave me a hairnet and shoe nets for my shoes and got me all set up, sat there, and she said, okay, we're gonna go get the surgery room, like the surgery theater or whatever they call it. We're gonna go get it ready for you. So you just sit tight and I will come back in a few minutes to get you. And I'll be completely honest, this was the worst part of this entire process. I sat there in this room by myself. I didn't have my phone. My partner was in another room. I had nothing to look at. I just sat there and it really started to sink in what was about to happen. So on my Apple Watch, there is like a meditative app thing that I didn't need my phone for. And basically it just helps you do deep breaths for a minute. So I was like, oh, I got nothing else to do. So I sat there for a minute. I had been sitting there for probably 10 minutes. I did the deep breathing thing for 60 seconds and it's like, good job. Your resting heart rate is 91. So, needless to say, it didn't help that much. I was really starting to panic. Finally, the nurse comes back. Honestly, it probably wasn't that long, but in my mind, I was like starting to lose it. So she comes back, she starts giving me a million eye drops. I don't even know what it was. Antibacterial stuff, numbing drops, like it's anyone's guess. I just let her give me whatever drops she needed. And she walks me into the surgery the room, the theater, the next door. And I don't have my glasses on at this point. So what I can see is very limited anyway. But I can see there's like a big machine, like a really cool looking futuristic machine. There's the nurse that brought me in. There's another nurse. There's my surgeon and there is a technician. So the nurse gets me to lay on the like bed thing and she gives me a little treat. Hold on, let me get it. She gives me this, this little chick stuffy thing. But honestly, when she gave it to me, I couldn't see. So I just like held it. I had no idea what it was until afterwards. So I lay down, I'm squeezing my little guy. They put a nice pillow underneath the back of my knees. So like my lower back didn't hurt. It was very comfortable. And they put a nice blanket over top. So I was very cozy. I was very snug. Really starting to panic. They swing me under the laser. And unlike anything I've ever done before. So the entire time the surgeon, Mr. Karp, is speaking to me. Now he speaks in the most calming, soothing way. I don't know if he has always had a voice like that or he's really worked on it, but I felt at ease just listening to him speak. So I'm laying there, I'm trying to take slow, deep breaths, and I'm just going to listen to his voice. So he explains everything to me and it kind of went like this. So he's like, okay, Alanna, we're gonna tape one of your eyes shut just so it's a bit easier on you, a bit easier to concentrate. So we're gonna tape that eye shut. That's great. Okay, so now we're gonna put this over your eye just to keep your eye open. It'll feel a little bit weird at first, but then you won't even notice it, which was true. I'm imagining it's like a Clockwork Orange situation, like keeping your eye open. Really didn't feel it. Okay, Alanna, you're gonna see a green light. Just look at that green light. We're gonna bring it a little bit closer to you. That's great. Okay. You might see some shadows. That's okay. Don't follow the green light. Just watch in that area. You're doing great. Okay, 10 more seconds. That's fabulous. Just keep looking at that green light. Wow, Alanna, you're doing a great job. All right, so 5 more seconds of that. That's great. All right, everything's looking good. You're so steady, Alanna. You're doing a great job. Now you're gonna see a bright light. Just look at the light. We're just having a look at your eye. That's great. Okay, now I'm gonna do an orange drop. You're gonna see everything's very orange for a second. That's great, Alanna. You're doing a great job. Now we're just doing our final checks. Everything looks good. That's wonderful. You're so steady. A great job. About 10 more seconds left, just a couple more eye drops. That's wonderful. Everything looks great. Okay, Alanna, now you can close your eye. And that was it. I don't know how long that actually took. I believe it was 60 seconds per eye, but that is basically what happened. So I'm squeezing my little guy, just breathing deeply, and I'm listening to him speak. He speaks for the entire time, so there's no confusion of like where you should be looking or what's happening. It was like the most soothing voice I've ever heard. So I closed that eye. Great job, Alanna. Okay, we're gonna tape up that eye. We're gonna do the other eye now. So now you know what to expect. It's gonna be the exact same thing. And that was it. Now I say that was it. And maybe listening to that, you think that's nothing. And it is kind of nothing, but not really. Because in the moment, it is frightening, but I really wanted this done. I felt like I was in the best possible hands, and I knew that they were gonna do their best to make sure I didn't end up blind. So we do the second eye, It's all the same. They take the tape off of my other eye, and he's like, great, okay. So they swing me out from under the laser. They get me up immediately. Some people ask, can you see? Yes, but not very well. With Smile, one of the big side effects they talk about early on is mistiness. So when I open my eyes and I get off the bed, things look misty. But to be fair, they looked very similar to how things looked without my glasses. Like it was just a bit, I could see, I wasn't blind, but it wasn't like the best vision. And the nurse walks me over to a chair in front of one of those like eye tests, you know, with the light, like when you get your eye test redone. So he says, we just want to have a look here in the light. So if you could put your chin on little rest, and he's just like, he has a light and he's looking at each eye. He's like, that's great. Everything looks perfect. Alanna, you did a great job. So the surgeon then takes me out down the hallway into the relaxation room. My partner is already in there waiting for me. The lights are very low because you're a little bit sensitive to light. There's like a lounge chair. They're playing spa music. Like it was quite nice. He sits me down and he does talk, but honestly, the adrenaline at that point, I have no idea what he said. But along the lines of, great job, have a rest, we'll see you tomorrow. Somebody will be in shortly to finish you all up. He leaves and I'm sitting there and wow, the adrenaline of this whole thing is kind of hard to explain. The stress of it and like the adrenaline, and then the appointment, the actual surgery under the laser is so short. And then you just like crash down on the other side. I almost felt like I was gonna cry, not because I was afraid or in pain or anything, but it was just like the adrenaline. So a woman comes in, she takes off my hairnet and my feet nets. She gives me more eye drops. This whole thing is just eye drops. And she asks how we're getting home. We say cab. She says, do you want us to call you one? We say, yes, please. She walks us upstairs. At this point, I'm wearing sunglasses and she calls the cab. The cab picks us up, drives us 3 minutes to the hotel. We get into the hotel, go upstairs. I put my PJs on. I get into bed. And it's kind of done. So that first 3 to 4 hours are the most important. They want you to just be like laying down, eyes shut. They gave me a timer because I had to take eye drops every 30 minutes for the first 3 hours. So you can't just like sleep it off. You just kind of have to lay there. So I just listened to podcasts. To be honest, it was just kind of boring more than anything.
Hi everyone. I'm gonna do this with my eyes closed. Hope you can see me, hope you can hear me. Well, it has been a day. So, surgery went absolutely well. It's been, I think about 3.5 hours since surgery. But in terms of right now, so in the surgery, not painful, not uncomfortable. It's just a weird sensation. That's the only way I can describe it. It's just kind of a little bit weird, but it's not painful. And right afterwards, and over the last sort of 3.5 hours, when I open my eyes, when I open my eyes, I can see, which is kind of wild. They literally lasered part of my eyeball, and I could see immediately afterwards. Now, I couldn't see great. Things are what they describe as misty. So I can see, but everything's like a little bit foggy, like a little bit misty. I'm still going to have that, for the next couple of days. And as my eyes heal, it might get a little bit worse, might get a little bit better, might get, like it kind of fluctuates as I'm healing. But I just thought it was so wild that I could actually see, even though I had lasers in my eyeballs. So 3.5 hours in, no pain. My eyes are a little bit irritated, kind of just like a little bit scratchy. The way I was describing it to my partner was, it's kind of like, when you have a really heavy screen day and you're at your computer like for too long, and by the end of the day, your eyes are just kind of like tired and a little bit irritated. That's really all I'm feeling right now. But all of the painkillers and things that they would have given me early this morning, I'm pretty sure that is done with now. So I'm feeling good. If anything, I'm just kind of bored. So the critical 3-4 hours were kind of past now, so I could like do some things, but to be honest, I think I'm just gonna stay where I am, keep my eyes closed. I've been listening to podcasts. I'll just listen to another one. I'd rather just take it extra easy than try to like strain my eyes too much. But overall, I'm having a great time. I couldn't believe it. It doesn't even hurt. Like, what is that?
My surgeon, or whoever mans my surgeon's cell phone, texted me a few hours after that, just to see how everything was going and was I okay. I couldn't read my phone, so I had my partner respond, just saying like, yep, just keeping my eyes closed. Everything's okay, I think. And he responded basically like, great, don't forget your eye shield, and we will see you tomorrow. So that night and every night for the next week, I had to wear this. Uncomfortable, yes. But they did give me those 2 sleeping tablets. So I took one that night, I popped this on, and I slept great. And that brings us to the next morning. Now, I was allowed to walk to the clinic in the morning. I did wear my sunglasses, less so for the light sensitivity and more so I was afraid of getting like dust and bits in my eye. There was lots of like buses driving by and and then like all the wind comes up. So wore my sunglasses, walked over to the clinic for my 1-day post-op. So this appointment was only about 30 minutes and my surgeon explained they don't really care how well you can see at that point because you are still very much actively healing. Their main concern was, how are you healing? Are you healing in a way that is expected? So we did do the eye chart just really briefly to see which line I could read. He said I was way ahead of the typical smile patient. Most patients, 24 hours, could see like much less. It's still very misty. So he said my swelling had really come down more than average, which made me feel very nice. And then it was just like looking at my eyes and, put your chin on the thing. And he's like looking at each eye just to make sure everything looks good. Did I have any more questions? All that kind of stuff. And that was really it. So he signed me off. I was allowed to drive, which is kind of wild when you think about it. I could take the underground. I could do general exercise. And I could go home. And I will just say, so at this point we had checked out of the hotel. We left the clinic. We were ready to go home. When we were on the train going back into Kent, I was sat there looking out the window and I could see. Couldn't see perfectly, but I could really, truly see. And I started to cry. I tried to hold it in because I was like, oh, I don't know if crying is gonna like mess up my eyes, but it just like really hit me. And it is really a special feeling. Now, what I would really like to talk about, and one of the things that I think is pretty important to touch on after all like science, yay, is the first week. And honestly, it really sucked. So a big part of this whole first week is, guess what? Eye drops. So I was given 2 different types of medicated eye drops. I had to do these into each eye 4 times a day. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, bedtime. I also needed to do blink intensive drops. They gave me these special little like eye drop strips. They don't have any preservatives in them, so they want you to use those first, and then once those are all finished, you can move to like a classic eye drop bottle. But I had to do these minimum 4 times a day, but really I used them a lot more because my eyes were irritated. So doing the eye drops, not unreasonable, right? Like it's not the end of the world. It's just annoying. And they did kind of not sting, but when I put them in, they felt like they were doing stuff. Does that make sense? For the first week, you also need to sleep in this and sleep on your back. And that really sucked. I love to sleep. I sleep on my side and I sleep great. Sleeping on my back with this for the first week was difficult. So I wasn't really sleeping that great, which made me difficult to be around during the day. I will say though, no pain. Nothing. No pain whatsoever. No pain during the surgery. No pain during my post-op. No pain for this entire first week. The biggest thing for me was itchiness, irritation in my eyes, and I could not read close up. So the distance vision definitely sharpens the fastest. Looking out the window was really, really cool, but I couldn't read my phone. I couldn't read my laptop, and my entire work is on my computer. So I really couldn't see close up for a while. Day 4, I started to notice that there was less and less itchiness. Day 5, things really turned around for me, and I was able to work on my computer. I actually edited a YouTube video. That was the first time I could do that, was day 5. Day 5, I could also read my book, like in bed at night before bed. So day 5 for me was a big turning point. Day 6 was the first day that I could use the blink intensive drops a little bit less. You are required to do them 4 times, but up until day 6, I was using them more than that because my eyes were irritated and itchy and dry and that kind of stuff. Day 6 was the first time that I could go down a bit. Still a required amount, but not so much extra. During this first week, you can't get water in your eyes. So I was having a shower with like a handheld detached shower head, like basically neck down. And then washing my face was like with a face wipe, and really avoiding your eyes. So that's difficult. Washing my hair, I tried dry shampoo at one point, kind of a disaster. This whole week was just like a little bit gross. You just kind of felt a little bit gross. And my eyelashes. Oh my God. With all of the medicated drops, my eyelashes were stiff. I actually lost quite a few of them over that week. It was disgusting. But because you can't get water in your eyes, I couldn't figure out how to clean my eyes well without getting water in them. Do you know what I mean? You also can't like rub your eyes or like put a lot of pressure on your eyes. So it was difficult, but it was so obvious. Like I would have, this is disgusting, skip this if you want, clumps of gunk in my eyelashes. So I would try to get them out with my hands, like with my fingers, because it was so, like I could feel it. It was really gross. Or I would wet a Q-tip and I would kind of get it as close to my eye as I felt comfortable. Now I didn't start messing around with my eyes until like day 5. So I really tried to follow the rules when my eyes were the most vulnerable. By day 5, when things really start to get better, I'm like trying to like clean my eyes a little bit without getting water in my eye, but it was really gross. And I am very grateful that I work from home, so I didn't have to like go into the office with eyes like that. And let me tell you, day 8, I could shower, I could get water in my eyes, I could get water on my face. The shower I had on day 8 was probably the best shower I've ever had. Would I recommend it? After talking about all the gross stuff that happens, would I actually recommend this whole process? Would I recommend smile surgery? Yes. Would I recommend London Vision Clinic? Absolutely. I watched a lot of YouTubers talk about their experience getting laser eye in the UK before I started this process. A lot of them used Optical Express or Optimax, which are like high street type places. I feel like I got a much more personalized experience. I did pay more, and just because you pay more doesn't mean you're gonna get a better product, but I am happy with the service. I feel like the cost matched what I received. Let's talk about main symptoms of my smile procedure. So I was a bit sensitive to light. That's a common one for the first couple of days. Not like painful, like looking at light is painful. I was just kind of like, looking at light was like, ooh, okay. I kept the blinds down. If I was like in the living room, it was really annoying. England is never that sunny. But once I had my surgery, it was so sunny and clear, and the light was just like streaming through all the windows. So I did close the blinds for the first couple of days. I had the light on inside. That didn't bother me as much. It was just like the big sun was a little bit irritating. I really stopped noticing this around day 5. Itchy eyes is another one. I really stopped noticing this around day 5, day 1 to day 4. So 0 being the surgery day, day 1 to day 4, my eyes would be itchy off and on. They're not itchy the entire time, but they could get very itchy and you cannot touch your eyes. You can't rub your eyes. You can't scratch your eyes. It's a little bit frustrating, but day 5 definitely, it pretty much stopped at that point. A big one for me and a kind of a scary one was close-up things. So things like my computer and my iPhone, I could not read comfortably until late day 4 kind of started to come in, but definitely day 5. I also made the font on my laptop like one size larger, which really helped. I couldn't read my book. I like to read before bed. I tried the night of day 4 and it was a bit too much of a strain, but day 5 I could do it. Now, dry eyes is the biggest one. That one comes and goes. That's part of eye surgery. It's just less severe now. If I woke up in the night, especially during that first week, because this would often wake me up in the night, I would usually have dry eyes, so I would have to do my blink intensive and then go back to sleep. But I haven't had that problem lately. You know, in like a 90s sitcom, in a dream sequence and everything's sort of like glowy? I had that, which I guess is kind of like the mistiness that they talk about. But for me, it looked very glowy. So like the window and the light coming in was very glowy. And if my partner was standing near light, it was very glowy. This was definitely noticeable the first couple of days and then it sort of started to die out. Pain? None. I haven't had pain at all through this process. I haven't even had a headache and I'm a headache girly. So that was actually quite surprising. The distance vision comes in so much faster than the close-up. So distance-wise, I could see my post-op appointment. The distance was really great. The close-up stuff took much longer. Let's talk about some of the biggest myths. Now, one that so many people messaged me, I heard you can smell burning. For me, no. I didn't smell anything, I didn't feel anything, and I didn't even hear anything. Part of the surgery, I started to think, what's happening? Can I tell what's actually happening? I couldn't. The only thing I focused on was my surgeon's voice coming from above somewhere. I didn't feel anything, smell anything, hear anything except his voice. Perhaps that is old LASIK. Perhaps you used to be able to smell. I certainly didn't. Another one I got was sounds really painful. Again, I haven't had any pain this entire time, not during surgery, not after surgery when the numbing drops wore off, not now. Never. Now, throughout this whole process, I've learned a lot, and I have some top tips that I would like to share. From my understanding, the SMILE procedure has a longer recovery time, and I definitely noticed that. If you are going to do SMILE, I would definitely look at taking more time off work than perhaps you originally estimated. For me, day of surgery, day 0, day 1, all the way in, including day 4, I basically could not do any work. I could watch movies and I could go for a walk, but I couldn't do any work on my computer. And I don't know if that's common for day 5. My surgeon did tell me I had better than average healing. So for the average person, it could even be longer than day 5. Another tip, wear black during your surgery. I wore this beautiful green shirt that I absolutely sweat through. And I was wearing antiperspirant. So another tip was clean your house. So before I went to London for this whole process, I did quite a big deep clean here, vacuum and dusted. I hadn't dusted in a while. And I was so grateful that I did, because when I came back and my eyes were really sensitive to dust particles and anything like that, to have a clean house was really helpful. A lot of people think of sunglasses with this surgery. Now, you don't really need them after day 1. The surgeon said you could walk around without sunglasses, no problem. I liked wearing sunglasses more so for the wind, where I have been wearing lenses for so many years. I don't normally get wind sort of in my eyes. So that itself is actually more drying than I originally anticipated. So wearing sunglasses outside, it was way less about light sensitivity and much more about the wind was just kind of annoying my eyes. Not so much anymore, but definitely the first few days. And finally, my big tip, eye drops. So much of this process is eye drops. I have probably taken hundreds at this point. I am very grateful that myself and my partner both work from home. So I had somebody here that could help me with the eye drops. I can kind of do them, but I usually miss the first time. It was extremely helpful, but if you don't have someone who's going to be around you, you have to be able to do the drops yourself. So my big tip would be to buy kind of like a blink intensive, like a non-medicated dry eye drop from Boots or wherever, and practice. So in the weeks leading up to your surgery, you could practice giving yourself just like regular eye drops so you're comfortable with it, you feel like you can handle it a bit better, because so much of this process are eye drops. Now, something did come about during this process that I would really like to share. I'm gonna call this what they don't tell you. At the end of day 4, I had progressed very little, in my opinion. The surgeon did tell me that it would take a few days to heal, but by the end of day 4, I started to panic. I had a panic kind of brewing in me, and then that night I didn't want to say it out loud because I was afraid if I said it out loud, it would make it real. But I was just like really panicking. I finally said it to my partner. I said, what if this is it? What if this is as good as I'm going to get? I still had itchy eyes. I still had irritated eyes. I couldn't read my laptop. I couldn't read my phone. I couldn't read my book. I was really struggling. Things were still sort of halo-y, misty, glowy. I still had a lot of side effects, and I just started to panic, like, what if this is going to be my life for the rest of my life? And I don't know if people really talk about this kind of stuff because it's scary, but there are a percentage of people that have bad experiences with laser eye, right? There are percentages of serious risks because those percentages represent real people. And so I was starting to panic, and I'm saying to him, like, what if I am the 0.01% that this doesn't work for? Because there are real people in that percentage. And what if I'm one of them? And thankfully, my partner very politely said, stop. Stop. It's only day 4. You've just been through surgery. Take a breath. Have a good sleep tonight. You're gonna feel better tomorrow. Just take it easy. Be patient with yourself. And I'm really grateful I had someone to say that to me, because I really started to freak out. And it is kind of wild that the next day, day 5, I woke up and it was a noticeable improvement. So many of the symptoms I was struggling with were almost completely gone. I could look at my laptop. I edited a video, which takes a lot of eye strain for me. And yeah, it was a real big turning point. But I do want to talk about the panic because, yeah, messing with your eyes is scary. So currently at day 11, really the only thing I'm experiencing are dry eyes occasionally. I still have to take Blink Intensive for a month. I go back to the clinic at 1 month for a checkup. I'm assuming at that point they'll definitely check like the vision and like how well I can see, because the healing should be done at that point, I would assume. So I do have to take these for the next month. I'm not really taking them in between required doses anymore. The dryness just feels a lot more manageable. That's really the only thing I'm dealing with at this point. And I expected that to be the case because, you know, eye surgery equals dry eyes, just happens. But it's much less severe than I was anticipating, which is nice. And my next step will be my 1 month appointment. So that'll be, I don't know, sometime in October. I don't know what the date's gonna be. Late October, I'll go back to London Vision. They'll check my eyes. I also have a post-op checkup. So you do post-op 1 day, 1 month, I think 3 months, and then 1 year. And all of those appointments, of course, are covered within my original treatment cost. But I definitely would like to give you guys an update maybe at 6 months to see how things are, what the side effects were like. At this point, you know, only being on day 11, It's wild. Like, I'm looking around the room and I can see. I can see. This process has been incredible and it has been difficult, and I want that to be very clear. It's not been super easy, but I've gotten through the hardest part. I've come out the other side and I can see, and I am so grateful to science, to my surgeon, to everybody who has helped me, my partner helping me with so many eye drops. It has been a real wild experience, difficult and extremely rewarding. So cheers, everybody. Last little bit of morning coffee left. While you're here, would you like to listen to some more personal drama? Why not check out this one where I shared my landlord from hell. But as always, thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, bye!